Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Books and Betches, not to be confused with Books and
Bones.
I'm Kristen, and with me I have...
Berica.
Maria.
So we were going to go... Here's the thing. Erica didn't come up with that on her own. And
I told her
I'm just disappointed because...
It didn't sound as fun.
What the fuck are your
Okay,
names?
do it again.
Do it again?
Do it again. Roll it back.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Books and Betches, not to be confused with Books and...
Nettle!
That's great.
Great, we've said the book title. Good job. I'm Kristen, and with me I have...
Erica!
Maria.
Stop
That's
it.
the closest it's gonna be.
Kristen.
Well, she says her name first, so she doesn't know we're gonna do it. You know, so she
Must
doesn't.
have
She
sucked.
doesn't get in on the joke.
So that's Erica, and
it's the
that's
FOMO.
Maria, and I'm Kristen,
It's the
and
FOMO.
this is a book podcast. We swear, we spoil, and we talk about sex. We're gonna spoil this book, so if you haven't read it, go read it before
There's
you
no sex in
listen.
this book.
I still have to say the tagline I've created.
Actually, technically, there's babies, so there is sex. It's just not on camera.
Came on page.
Whoa, what a fucking ride of a sentence that was. Okay,
Not
Nettle.
insane.
Let's talk about the book that we're talking about. It is Nettle and Bone by.
T. Kingfisher.
Where the fuck did this book come from now, Maria?
Booktube.
Again with the booktube.
Yeah, I tend to listen or watch a lot of booktubers.
Okay,
Books and Lala. Love
her. Did she read this one?
I don't know.
Nettle and Bone, you said? Nettle and Bone.
Nettle and Bone.
Has
Nettle and Bone.
Have you heard of this
Nettle
beforehand?
and Bone. Nettle and Bone. To be honest, it looks like every other fucking fantasy cover ever. So
Have you heard about it going into this? 'Cause-
again, it looks like every other like fantasy cover ever. So
you
like,
mean
if
you may
I
have seen it?
I may have seen it.
Have
in
you
my,
heard
in my
the
travels.
fucking name Nettle and Bone and like about this book?
Sure.
And like,
No,
Maybe.
She has not.
has it been on your radar?
No.
Thank you. That is where I was
That's
going.
where the question was
and
coming
that's all I
from.
wanted was like.
No, because this is not the genre that I
Genre I generally
It's
read.
not the genre that I generally read.
I love how you said that. That's a genre I didn't really read.
Okay, fair.
Love that.
So
I
no,
heard
it
of-
was not on my radar.
Thank
I
you.
heard of this book from Riley Marie, I think. Riley Tweets, whatever. She usually does a lot of romance books on her channel on YouTube.
Okay.
But I've heard it from her, and she raves about this author, T. Kingfisher. It's like one of her favorite authors ever.
Interesting.
And the premise sounded fun.
Yep.
And I said,
So you did know what the premise was going into it.
very vaguely.
What did you know going into this book?
I knew that it was like a fantasy. I thought it was more creepy. I thought it was gonna be more on the horror side.
Yeah.
Because she also reads a lot of horror.
Well, the first chapter, I was like, "This is creepy."
Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought it was like a horror fantasy book.
Okay.
It was short.
Yep.
And that was it. That's all I really knew about it.
Okay.
Because sometimes when there's a book that they talk about on BookTube, I'm like, I'm going to skip what they ever say about it until I read it on my own.
I do that too.
And then, like Finley Donovan, so many booktubers would talk about it, but I've skipped all of their reviews on it.
This was a perfect length book.
Yeah. It's
I agree.
only 245 pages.
Yeah.
It was just very
For what
short
it was,
audiobook.
It was very.
At the top of this, I'll just say I didn't finish it. I
I
got
what you did.
No, I think I got to like the middle of it. To be honest with you, I just ran out of time. This last few weeks have been crazy. I got married.
We
I
traveled.
got engaged after getting married. I traveled to
tell me
London.
that.
Well, I don't fucking care. I literally eloped on a mountain and then the ring came after.
Yeah, the
Like,
second genre is horror.
Yeah, which again,
Yeah.
like, I wouldn't classify this as a horror.
So I feel bad that I didn't finish the book, but I'm excited to hear how it goes. I'm excited to hear your thoughts, and I could be a good outlier of like that doesn't make any fucking sense. So
I've always said I like when one of us doesn't read it because then
yeah.
someone's asking questions that someone who
agree.
hasn't read it would be asking.
I agree.
You read enough of it.
I read a decent amount to know how I feel about it. Nettle and Bone, we should do the 60 seconds so we can start talking about it. Maria's doing it. Yeah?
Yeah.
I think we all agree Maria's doing it. If you're new to this podcast, we attempt to do this thing where we say an entire plot summary of a book in 60 seconds or less. That's a short amount of time, and Maria is the one that gets to do Nettle and Bone this week. Are you excited?
Yeah.
Good.
I'm done today, so this is going to be the first one.
You should be. You know all the names. Here we go. In 3, 2, 1, go.
We are following Mara. Mara is the third daughter of the royal family of this very small kingdom between two big kingdoms. Her kingdom has a treaty with the northern kingdom in marriage so that they're not taken over. The first daughter marries the prince. She gets killed. Second daughter gets sent. She's struggling. Mara has been sent to the convent to be a nun, basically, and on reserve in case the second sister dies. She finds out that her sister's been having pregnancy after pregnancy, not having kids because she's being abused by her husband. And so
30.
Mara decides, I'm going to kill this prince. So she goes on this whole quest. She enlists the help of a dust witch. Basically, she just works with the dead. A warrior, a fairy godmother, a demon chicken, and they go on a quest to kill the prince. The entire time it's just
15.
them going through all these lands to kill this prince. At the end, they end up killing him in this
10.
battle in the middle of the christening of the baby that is just born. And that's basically it. A lot of
5,
shit happens after that.
4,
But she kills the prince.
3,
her sister gets saved, and she becomes queen.
2. Wow, that was fucking good.
Unbelievable.
Could you imagine a world where Erica's able to hit that level?
I don't even think I could like string that many coherent thoughts together.
You are so good at it.
Thank you.
It is mind blowing. You had that one. I can't remember the book, but you had one time where you
Is it 50
struggled.
Shades?
No,
No.
it was Hocus Pocus. I did badly, and the Black Witch. I think.
It was one of them, but
Uh-huh.
never again. You said never again, and you
I
pulled up your
think about
bootstraps.
constantly that I failed at one
You
or two of
pulled
them.
up those bootstraps, and you said no.
I said, "Watch this."
You don't practice, do you?
At all.
You swear?
I promise you, I never.
It's just
practice.
always so good.
I
You get
have
everything
this-
that needs to be got.
You know how Erica is like sprinkled by God with being lucky.
Yeah.
I think I'm sprinkled with being able to bullshit. So I've done this my entire life with
So
like
is she, though.
projects, with like public speaking projects.
Yep.
I've always done this where I can just like
Get it out there.
I'll get it out there. I'll make a couple mistakes here and there because I talk too fast sometimes and I mumble.
No, I
but
think that's
I get most of it out.
That's a superpower.
Definitely.
I think so. I think you got it. So good
Thanks.
job. I'm glad that you said all that because that was literally exactly perfect. Nettle and Bone. So I thought, and I think we all thought, this was going to be a horror book.
Same.
And I don't know, why did we think that?
Because the first chapter is creepy as fuck.
It's creepy.
The first and this was weirdly told in a way where in the
I
beginning
fucking hate.
where
I don't like how. Okay, let me just start by
There's the dog
saying.
construction.
Can I just start by saying, okay, I DNF'd this book. I said I ran out of time, but truthfully,
I know you DNF'd
Truthfully, I'm not going back to it.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I did not hate.
You lie?
I did, yeah. I lie all the time. I'm kidding. No, I'm not. That was a lie. Nettle and Bone is very similar to Fairy Tale by Stephen King.
which I did not
Who do
know.
I love?
Stephen King.
Stephen King. I DNF Fairy Tale.
Why?
I didn't know that I don't like this style of book. I love a good adventure book. Love it.
Yeah.
Love a good adventure movie. But when the plot, I don't want to say is pointless because there is a point to it.
Yeah.
But when it comes down to this girl, she didn't have to go on this quest. She could have just fucking killed the king. So when we already get to that point where I'm like, this whole thing is just a string of adventures, I'm just like, I get lost.
The string of events.
Fairy Tale, it's the same thing. The kid didn't need to go to this other world, and
did
it's
we
just
say
a
it
string
was?
of events.
When we were walking in?
We talked about it walking
No,
in.
me and
I think-
Maria.
Oh.
We said-
I don't know what we
what
said.
did
Like
I
a
call
quest,
it?
like
you
a-
said The Hangover. No.
No, that was
No,
Finley
no, no.
Donovan.
I called it a little adventure. Like to me, it's
No,
a
I called it
D&D
specific
quest.
book or a
Oh.
specific movie.
I don't know
What
what
did I
you
call
said.
it?
I don't know. I should listen to you more.
I think I would rather watch something like this than read it. This is where what you have said in the past comes in.
Very watchable.
And it's the same with the Fairy Tale and with this book, both of them. I get lost, and maybe it's because I'm listening to it, so like my mind just wanders with the quest, and then I'm like, I don't even know what happened for the past
Princess
15 minutes.
Bride.
That's what I said.
I
said
don't
Princess
get that
Bride.
vibe
To me,
at all.
I'm not saying it's exactly like
no,
it.
I know.
it's your
feel you.
favorite movie.
I feel you. I don't. I wish I got that vibe.
But it's
To me,
adventure.
it's
But
yeah.
an adventure book where it's like it's not this. There's a big thing at the end, but we rarely get to it until 90%.
yeah.
Like this whole thing is a quest to kill the prince, but the entire time we're thrown on these different tangents of an adventure,
Right.
which to me that's why this feels like a Dungeons and Dragons quest.
You would think I would love it, is what I'm saying.
That's what I thought too.
And I thought I would too. And same with Fairy Tale. I thought I would love
but
it.
I think the way it came in
Yeah.
told
yeah.
was
wasn't for
weird.
me.
Because it started
Wasn't for me.
off where the beginning of the book we are with Mara as she's creating a bone dog. She's taking
Loves
the
this.
bones
I
of
was
a dog.
in. I was
loved the
in.
Bone Dog.
taking
I was
the
in.
bones of a dog to create a skeleton dog.
Yeah.
And I think
We
it's
were
like- it's
thrown
like-
into the action, which I
yeah,
love.
it's
I
like the
fucking
dog
love
from,
that.
Pet Cemetery. Oh no.
Yeah,
the,
Pet
Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yes.
No, it
Ghost.
was the other dog.
Or Zero.
What's
Zero.
Tim Burton's other movie that he had that was
Corpse
more
Bride?
recent?
More recent.
recent.
Coraline? No, Coraline's on Tim Burton,
More
is it?
recent. No.
Is Coraline Tim Burton?
Yeah, Coraline's Tim Burton. But I was thinking of Zero. Same thing from
It's,
Nightmare
not
Before
Bones,
Christmas.
but-
Yeah. What the fuck are you talking about?
Frankenweenie.
Oh, Frankenweenie.
I
How
haven't seen
cute.
that
That's what I picked. That's what I.
But
pictured.
yes, essentially that.
We were like I was
But I
in
guess
it, dude.
It is more the Bone Dog.
And
from
I was in it, and then we went back to the boring shit, and I was like, now
And then
I'm
we
out.
went back in time to the
Yeah.
beginning of this
Which
whole
is
thing.
fine.
The beginning of Mara's life, how she
Yeah.
got to this convent, how she lived her first 30 years of life. Like, we go backwards. I don't know. I think essentially because if we had started it that way, it would have been too boring of a book. No one would have continued reading.
Yeah.
But because we started with her already creating the Bone Dog, it kind of throws you into I think it misleads you into what this book actually is.
Exactly. And that was my biggest gripe with it. Had I read this, I think I would have had a different reaction because it's the same with Fairy
you
Tale.
listen to it?
I'm listening to them and I get lost in my mind. I think I need to
I
sit
was
down.
lost in the beginning. So I got the library book and read it and listened
That's
at the
what I
same
need.
time.
I need to do that.
I've come across this with fantasies, at least in audiobook form. I have to start them physically with the audiobook playing at the same time. And then once I'm in at least 10-15%, I'm good. I can go, I'll go to audio and not get too lost. But if I go straight into audio beginning, I'm like, whoa, I don't know.
Right.
Hold on.
Right.
The problem for fantasy for me is the names, and the names were as simple as they get. For
Yeah.
this. It was just like the godmother,
Dust Witch,
the
godmother,
Dust Witch, the Bone
chicken.
Dog,
Yeah.
the demon chicken, and then like Fenris.
A lot of people talk about this, but at least from the small amounts of Goodreads I've seen, is
People
that
love this
they
book.
call this a fairy tale. It's
Yeah.
just a common fairy tale, and I'm like, yeah, it gives.
That's
I
the
like
thing.
fairy tale
I
vibes.
like
That's
it.
the thing. At the end of the day, like for me, DNFing it is a me problem totally because I do think that if I went back and I reread this and I like actually put effort into it, I would love it.
And I do feel like I think the writing was well enough to where it doesn't confuse you too much.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Yeah.
It's
I agree with
very,
that. It was very simple.
straightforward.
Very
For
straightforward.
a fantasy,
Yep.
considering like
It wasn't complicated.
I didn't
for,
think the
like,
world was
world.
uncomplicated.
Nope.
It felt like a world I could understand.
I agree with
They
that.
didn't get too much into the politics of like why.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was very surface level.
The
in
world
terms
building
of,
was
like,
perfect.
The magic was
Yeah.
very surface level. It
Yeah.
was
And very
like
easy to
familiar.
understand. Yeah.
I agree
In
with
a
that.
lot of ways,
I
like
agree.
you've heard of witches or of godmothers giving blessings. It had the framework of other fairy tales that we've heard growing up. I think it was a very much like inclusive of all of those like elements that came together and created this like I think it was a very entrancing story overall.
Yeah.
What I think, I don't necessarily think there should have been more romance in this. I think the
sprinkle we
sprinkle
got.
of it was perfect. I wanted a little bit more payoff in the
the end.
last
Yeah.
like 3 sentences
Sure.
of the book, them like riding into the sunset together a little bit more, and I think that would have put this book a little bit higher for me.
Yeah.
But I think I really liked the visuals. There was a lot of like
Yeah.
sentences in this book that I was like,
I
wow,
love
that was
that
really
opening
well written.
scene,
Wow,
yeah.
that was very funny. The dialogue was
Yep.
very witty. There was a lot of moments where I was like, that was really well said.
The writing
and-
was definitely very good.
I think also Mara as a character was fun for me to
Oh
read.
man, that is my biggest gripe actually.
don't
Mara,
like Mara?
Mara
Was her?
being 30 felt like she felt like a teenager to me.
She was in a convent her whole life.
You're right, and I get it, but like that was tough for me to follow her being 30.
I'm 30.
I feel
See,
you.
and do you see how
I
act?
feel, but some of the things were just like too childish. Like some of them. I
I
don't know.
get,
Some
what
of
you're,
her
I get what you're
dialogue.
saying. I did forget she was 30.
Yeah.
There was one point where she was like, I'm 30 years old. And I was like, bitch, what?
I don't
Maybe
know.
she gives
And then
off
when she was
25-year-old energy.
when
I
she was
got
like,
teen.
Fenris is almost 40. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
girl, that's your demo
That's
now.
your, that's
bitch.
your age
Yeah,
range.
yeah.
I was like, that's not that old. That's good for me.
That's your demo.
40
I'm
is
dude.
great. Yeah.
No, I thought Mara. I liked how she like her mental state through all this was relatable to me.
She was she was an anxious person, which
she
I
was a
definitely related to.
people pleaser.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
She
she
was,
She didn't
yeah.
want to like inconvenience anyone,
get
but she
that.
still wanted to save
It
her
was very
sister.
real.
Yeah, yeah.
It brought you into like
she was very easily to relate
Yeah.
to. I agree with that.
So one of my only real problems with this book in terms of like the character plot, all of this, is that I felt like there was no connection between the sisters.
Considering this sister she's trying to save,
She
one of the
went
first
through
things
all
we
of
see
these things.
is that she hated her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, so why would you do this for your sister? The author relied too heavily on like the natural built like sisterly bond that
Yep.
people might feel towards their family without actually having to
See,
say any of that
this
or
is it.
describe it.
This is the problem right here, because now I'm like I had so much self-reflection during this, but I was like, why did I like the hike? It was the same exact thing, right? A quest, and then it ends. And I was like, oh, because it was life or death. Like he had to escape,
stakes
or he
were
was gonna die.
unknown.
Her, it's like, just either go kill him yourself, or like figure out, like you literally stab him or whatever you got to do. But like it wasn't enough. What you said, it wasn't enough relationship for me to be like, does she really care about her sister
like
this
she
much?
liked her other
This
sister
is a
better.
big quest.
She
This
did.
is a big quest.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
But
so.
I think it's one of those where it's
See, like I think if you swapped the sisters, I think it would have been better.
It would have
If you
made it
had
better,
the
yeah.
sister that you didn't like as much doing
Die
die
first.
first, and then you're like, oh, I don't want my sister that I really like
yeah, good point.
way more. Like I think that would have been more effective.
I agree with you. I agree
Yeah,
with
yeah,
you.
yeah.
I think for me, listening to this and reading it, I got to a point where I was like, I don't even care about the prince. I'm just here for the journey.
Yeah.
And I think again, it's like when
You kind of get lost in that.
I get lost in the journey. I'm at the point like where I was with Finley as well. It's like I came in with barely any knowledge.
Right.
And I put my expectations out the door, which
Sure.
is weird because I don't normally do that.
Just started
I
so
think
fucking
this past
strong,
month
man.
has been
Yeah.
weird for me
Yeah.
mentally. So I was like, okay, let's just be weird. Let's
Yeah.
be spontaneous.
I love that.
So I was just, I was thrown in. And I'm like, you know what? Who gives a fuck about the
But
prince?
to
I'm
me-
here for this like weird ass journey through the woods with some random
I
demon
love that.
chicken.
The demon chicken was definitely a highlight for me.
Yeah.
The
Bone
dust
dog.
the
Oh.
Bone dog, dust wife,
dust
Dust
wife.
witch, dust
Yeah.
The
that was
dust
cool.
wife to me was like the star on the cake. Like
Yeah.
I thought all of her
She was
dialogue
so funny.
She was
so
great.
funny. She was so witty.
She
was
reminded
so,
me
like
of your character in Fated Enemies.
Yeah.
like she was
The
just
old
like
lady.
she was
It's
there.
always an old lady that's like
and it was
awesome.
just she was just like spitting it.
And then
like,
her
really, really
and the
well.
godmother, how their relationship like
Yeah.
blossomed. And the godmother is this super sweet. She just wants everybody to be happy.
Yep.
She gives health to everyone, even though she's cursed the shit out of them. She's like, I just want you to have good health. And then the dust witch is just like, fuck them.
It's just a good dynamic.
It was just
and
like
then at the end of the book, they go together, like go off to live together.
Cool.
As like, she's like, I guess you're gonna come with me.
Where I left, so like I thought it was neat that like the book wasn't about her entire quest of getting the 3 things that she needed to kill him. It was more about the act of killing him, right? So I kind of left off in the middle. Can you just fill me in, like how, you said at one point I was just on this ride of this quest, like what are some things that happen that are
So the one that called out to me the most is they're trying to get to the Northern Kingdom.
okay?
Right? They pick up Fenris.
Fenris.
He was at the Goblin Alley, Goblin something. He's like
Market.
Goblin Market. He's been basically imprisoned for killing someone who he thought was a bad person. So there's a whole backstory as to why he killed them, which makes sense later. But like once they got him and how he sort of became Mara's sort of like companion in a way of helping her and giving her that security, I was like, oh, cute.
Okay.
And then we get to the point where we get finally to the Northern Kingdom. They had to find a safe place to stay.
Okay.
The little chicken that the godmother was cursed to find us a place of safety led them to this hotel where the main innkeeper is controlled by a puppet,
Oh.
like a demon puppet.
Shit.
Essentially, it has like a
Very
thing
creative.
Yeah.
around her neck to where it chokes her. It can't even let her speak.
Oh my
most of the
goodness.
time.
Yeah.
But she loves it like a cursed child in a way. So like I was like, I fucking hate puppets. Ew, I hate
so
it.
that was horror
But
for
at
you.
that point, I'm like, this is crazy. Out of all places, you show up at a place where now there's a puppet involved.
Yeah.
So no, the woman can't even tell that you're here. She can't reveal your secrets to anybody because she's
Oh.
being controlled by a puppet.
Yeah.
And then the chicken and the big chicken having to take care of the little chicken. It's just
Did any of the animals die?
no.
No.
Okay, great.
Well,
Bone Dog did.
but he got resurrected.
Bone Dog sacrificed himself to
I would cry.
to save her.
I would cry.
You knew
for
that
something.
he was going to get reinstated though.
But
Resurrected or
he was
whatever.
resurrected.
I would still cry.
Basically, so what happens at the end?
Mm-hmm.
Fenris goes. They all basically come into the christening of the baby, and the main godmother that's not cursed, but yeah, she's cursed the royal family to where they cannot be hurt by outside magic
Okay.
and stuff. But that's taking out their life force. So this godmother of the king is basically immortal because she's sucking their
shit.
life force to keep their line safe and alive.
Okay.
They realize they can't hurt the prince, now king, until they get rid of the bond that the
Oh.
fairy godmother has with them.
Okay.
So they go to the fairy godmother. They learn of these kind of like secrets in a way. The fairy godmother tells the other fairy godmother her stuff.
Mm-hmm.
In the meantime, she kind of like throws Mara off. She puts a spell on Mara where Mara can't figure out what the hell's going on.
Right.
Gives her a tapestry. In the tapestry is a map of the crypt beneath the castle.
Okay.
Or beneath the whatever the crypt where the old kings are. They go in to find the ghost of the first king that's connected to the
That's
godmother
so cool. Yeah.
to sever the link.
That was a great
This is
scene.
fucking neat.
I'm telling you, it's a fun story.
It's it's just so fucking creative.
Yeah.
It's
they
so
sever the
different.
link.
Yeah, I love
so
that.
They
creative.
I love
sever
that.
the link. There's this big battle now up there with the prince. They're like, no, there's the whole plot coming. Someone's trying to kill me. Yada yada.
Yeah.
And Fenris comes and just fucking stabs him. Just
See?
like, I'm gonna come
That's
in.
how it
here.
happens in the end. You
He
just get
gets
stabbed
taken-
anyway.
He gets taken prisoner.
But I guess it wouldn't matter then. Why didn't you guys say that? When I said she could have just went and stabbed him. Well, he couldn't be hurt anyway, right?
well, now
Well,
he
now
gets
that- now
severed
that
the
everything's
left.
But so
broken.
everything did have to happen.
Yeah.
So I was
You were wrong because you
yeah.
didn't finish it. That's
yeah,
fine.
totally. Tell me that.
Well,
Call me an
I'm
idiot.
getting through. I'm
Yeah.
calling you an idiot. So Fenris, instead, the queen at this point is very happy. She's already been plotting in her head, like, what would have happened if my husband gets killed one day? What do I do?
Yeah.
So she has a whole plan in place. My son is now the king. You're gonna help me, and you're gonna help me. We're gonna be regents until he's old enough.
Sure.
And they do this whole plot so that Fenris doesn't get killed for what he does. They bury him alive as his punishment. But it's in the crypt where they've already had access to before. So they go in, they save Fenris. But in the battle, that's where Bone Dog goes and attacks and gets killed for it. But they
Was it a sad scene at all? Like, were you?
I was sad.
Yeah,
I was,
I
like,
was
oh,
sad.
Bone
Yeah.
Dog. But the sister,
She was sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was sad. The sister, the one that's been saved now, got every bone. They're like, I told them that they have to grab every bone in case it's cursed. And
Do you think Bone Dog's happy to be alive again?
Yeah.
Okay.
He was so happy.
good.
He was so happy.
Because like bringing back things from the dead is like such a
This
sketchy.
was
not
not
alive. It wasn't
Yeah.
alive.
It was dead.
But I can just only think of Pet Cemetery, and when
I know,
pets
it's
come
hard- it's
alive in
hard
Pet
I
to-
haven't
Cemetery,
seen Pet Cemetery, so
Don't.
I don't have that connection.
don't.
But Bone Dog was very happy. He doesn't
good.
realize he's dead.
No, I thought.
I like that spin
Yeah.
because like usually there's always a negative spin on bringing things back to life, which
Yeah.
like makes sense because then it's
the balance of the world.
Yeah,
it was
exactly.
already brought back to life.
okay.
Yeah. So he's
You know what I mean? Like, it was already dead.
Right.
He was already dead. And I like that they didn't like call him like Paul or something. Like his name
I
was
love Bone Dog. Yeah, I love that. Paul.
Bone Dog.
What could you have named him? Like, there's no good name for that.
I don't know. They could have called him Bones.
I like Bone Dog.
I like Bone
But
Dog.
Bone Dog-
Bone Dog's probably a cat dog.
But I think it was funny because everybody except for the two humans
Have
had
a random.
had just that what they were.
Oh
You know
yeah.
what I mean? Like Fairy
Dust Witch.
Godmother, Dust Witch, Bone
Yeah,
Dog.
yeah.
Like it was just
I like
very
that.
simple in that way. And
I
when
like
you
that.
have all these complex like things going on, and you know, it was just a very simple story.
I'm surprised you like this.
I
as
put
you
a-
did. I don't
a
know why. It's not
random-
your vibe.
Yeah, It's I know, not my right? vibe
It's
at
not
all.
her vibe at all.
Yeah.
I put a random like update when I was reading it.
Yeah.
That this, although it's not marketed as this, it felt like a cozy fantasy to me.
Yeah. It didn't seem horror.
It wasn't
to me.
cozy,
It definitely wasn't horror,
but
though.
it gives me cozy vibes.
Like, what was the most horror part about it was the resurrecting of the dead to me. I mean, I didn't get to the end.
There's
so
like
I-
these weird. There's this like water demon that comes up that
Yeah.
she describes to be very scary to her. Like she
There's
almost
a-
vomits.
There's a moment in a book that we're going to talk about later in Rhapsodic where, like, there's, like, this moment where I was like, this feels so fucking scary. Like,
kids.
Yes, the
Yeah.
kids. And I was like, this is, like, what I think of when I think of horror. And
Yeah.
I was like, the fact that this book is doing it and then, like,
Yeah.
I'm listening to this
Yeah.
one that's supposed to be horror. So I was kind
Yeah,
of,
again, I
I-
wouldn't classify this
So
as
the
I
only,
wouldn't-
so
I
the
wouldn't
only
either.
my only minus on this, and this is no fault to Nettle and Bone or the author, is that it was like one of the tags was horror, so I was expecting
Yeah.
something that it wasn't.
Yeah.
And that, you know,
That's probably why I gave it also a 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
4?
I just
What
had a
did you
different expectation. I
give it
gave
a
it a 4. I gave it a 4. I don't know if I would pick this book back up to read,
I would.
which is not usually my 4 category.
Yeah, we just did a whole episode about that.
And the only reason that I gave it a 4 versus a 3 is because I thought this writing was really, really well
Yeah.
done. I thought the book was really, really good, and I would recommend this book to people who like this genre.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And again, like I enjoyed this book. Just because I wouldn't read it again doesn't mean that I didn't like
Sure.
reading it. So
Yep.
I kind of, the only component for me for this to be a lesser score is the fact that the readability again, but because of all of the other factors, I felt like it deserved the 4.
I think also for me a big factor was just our main character. Because I feel like in fantasies, a lot of our main characters are made to be these big badasses, especially the women.
And she was
Not that she doesn't have to be, but like
Yeah,
she
she was-
she came in very relatable to me. She just wants to help everyone, but feels so helpless about it.
Yeah.
and it's like She's great.
That's
Like
nice.
she saves Fenris from the thing. She's like, you don't have to help me. I know I told you like to help me because I saved you out of that like goblin thing. But honestly, like if you want to go, like you can just go.
So are they the romantic?
Yeah.
And
But it's very friends to lovers. It's very
what's
like
the end that you that you didn't feel like you got enough? Like what happens? Do they get together?
They clearly like each other, right?
Sure.
Like there's a clear attraction
They don't, like,
between
kiss.
the two, and they kind of like are sharing a bed together. And
yeah, it's
there's
one
just-
bed trope everywhere.
Of course.
and it's just there's no like kiss. There's no anything.
Oh, they don't kiss?
I think they do. They do once. They do have one
during
kiss.
during the book.
I think it's at the end.
Was there like
No, they don't kiss at the end.
I
The
thought-
bone
I
dog.
thought he said
The
that
bone
they-
dog interrupts. She was like, "We were gonna kiss, but then the bone
Is that what
dog like
happened?
jumps on the bed and like, and I was like, you gotta be fucking.
I
I can't even get a.
I
I
finally-
finally get an innocent
I feel like
kiss
this
in
is
here.
where you know what, this is why I'm saying this gives me like Princess Bride. It's like a PG type.
Yeah, it's so PG.
It's PG.
There's so much more romance.
This could be a good little like fantasy story
Yeah.
for a kid.
Okay, fair enough.
It's
Interesting.
there's scary things in here, but like we had a lot of scary things as kids all the time.
Yeah.
I
I'm
don't know.
curious about
I
this
liked
author.
it.
I would like to read more of this author.
I hear that they have a lot. This book itself was a Goodreads Choice nominee
Oh, wow.
for fantasy
That's awesome.
in 2022. Let me see. Oh, stupid Goodreads. Stop being so
Maybe in
annoying.
like a year I'll retry this.
Not for
Um,
nothing. This book is $12.99 on Kindle. That's egregious.
You should
Like
see what people
expensive?
have been talking- Yeah.
$12.99? I feel like that's pretty standard these days. Oh, on Kindle.
No, on Kindle.
Ah.
It should be $5 for Kindle.
I feel like anything digital should be less.
But I think Amazon's like jacking up those prices lately.
yeah, did you see Kindle Unlimited prices went up?
I
got an
already
email.
bought the year ahead.
Oh.
So I
It went from like 11
from
to
9 to 11.
That's crazy.
I mean, so did Scribd. Scribd also went up.
Did it?
Yeah, it went up to 11 as well.
Man, Netflix is like $30 a month.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So a lot of this author's books are highly rated.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Well, I
the
heard-
lowest I'm seeing is a 3.6.
I heard they're a good writer, so. I mean, they are a good writer based
Yeah.
on what I've
It's a lot of
listened to.
fantasy books.
Nice.
And going as far back as 2014, one of their books. So
Nice. Any final thoughts on Bone Dog
Oh.
or Nettle and Bone?
in another life, she writes children books and weird comics.
See, that makes sense to
And
me.
has won the Hugo, Sequoia, and Ursa Major awards, as well as half a dozen junior library guild sections.
That's fucking dope. That makes sense to me, though. Then why this feels a little like it could be, like a kid.
So
could
she
pick it up.
has. So she also writes children's books. Kingfisher is her adult books.
What's her?
I don't know. I don't see it here.
Look at us doing research.
Ursula Vernon is her name, but I don't know what children's books she writes. Oh yeah, that's her name, Ursula Vernon, for her children's books.
Nice.
She has a lot of children's books.
Erica, any final thoughts? Because, like I said, I'm amazed that you like this book.
She's looking at stuff.
I guess I just think that this book is like it's everything that I don't necessarily like in a fantasy, but I still
Yeah.
liked it.
I thought the opposite was gonna happen.
Me
I thought
too.
you were gonna like it and
Me
she was
too.
gonna hate it.
Me too.
Cuz this is one of those weird times where I don't necessarily think that I would have wanted more romance in this. Like I think
Doesn't
that
call for it.
it doesn't really suit this story and it didn't need it.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I think that we could have just had that
That's
seal
always
it with
her
a
note.
kiss.
That's always her
Seal it
note.
with a
I
kiss.
agree though. I would have sealed it with a kiss.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they were so cute.
Well,
They were. It was
Like he was
cute.
so protective.
I wonder
of her.
why they didn't.
Like it got to a point because of how cold it was, like on their travels, they would sleep back to back
yeah.
to keep warm.
Cute.
And it got to when they got to a bed at one point, he slept somewhere else. She was like, I kind of miss.
And she's
having him at my
30,
back.
right?
She's 30.
Yeah. Okay.
And she's not like a virgin.
could have
or anything,
cuddled,
but,
but,
like
yeah,
they
yeah.
could have. But he was very respectful. It's a PG book. Coming from a children's book writer, I get it.
Nah, that makes a
Yeah.
lot more sense now, especially mixing that with comics too. Like,
Yeah,
now I
I-
understand the
it's-
wild ride side of it. Like, how
Yeah.
cool, like to
It's
go
such
on
a
a quest.
fun. I love this book.
I think it's
and
genius.
It's a great book.
Yeah, and
I
I think
liked
that
it.
if you're interested in those types of books, definitely pick
I think
it
you
up.
should read this.
I recommend if you like that, I recommend Fairy Tale and I recommend The Hike because they're
gonna say The
very similar vibes. Where
Oh,
it's like
the hike
quest.
again is very extreme.
yeah, the
stance.
hike. The hike is a little bit more.
It feels
horror
like
than
an acid trip.
It's an acid
compared to
trip
this.
for sure. And then Fairy Tale on the other side, like if you love like character development, you're always getting that with Stephen King. And if you love a good pet in a book, the dog in Fairy Tale, it's like I'm obsessed with
There's
it.
a dog in that too.
The whole reason he goes into the other world is to try to get to this fountain to save this, like to bring this dog to a younger age. Which like, yeah, but it just wasn't enough for me, I guess. Because once you're in there, you're on this quest and then you just kind of like lose the whole fucking thing. But yeah, I mean, Fairy Tale, it's long as fuck. But
it's Stephen King.
If you liked this book, I do think that you would like it. And it takes a little bit longer to get into the adventure.
Stephen King.
Yeah.
Stephen King is going to do one thing. He's going to make sure you're on that book ride for a while.
But I loved the beginning when we're in the real world before he goes into this like other fantasy world. Like it was just the way he writes people is just so fucking intriguing. It's like you're diving into that life, and it is an amazing art. It really is.
I always think back to The Long Walk a lot.
Yeah.
Especially when I'm at Orange Theory.
And it's such a light... Yeah, me too. When I'm on a treadmill, I'm like, can I go 4 miles an hour?
So at Orange Theory, when there's like the base pace and like the mid whatever, my base pace right now is starting to become a 4.
Yeah?
To jog.
It is.
I'm jogging at 4 miles an hour.
Well,
and I was like, these kids with shorter legs than me had to walk.
I walk 3.8 on the treadmill. That's what I try.
3.8 is a power walk for me.
And then once I hit 4, I'm like...
4, I'm jogging.
I couldn't do this for
I'm literally jogging
100
and I
miles.
can't hold it for more than 3 minutes.
Imagine miles.
I held it on Friday for like 5 and I was like, wow, look at me.
If you're curious what we're talking about, go check out our episode on The Long Walk by Stephen King. Yeah. I think you'll get a kick out of it because... that's a whole nother adventure. But yeah, Nettle and Bone, I'm glad that you brought it to the table. I think in a couple years, maybe I would go back to it and be in a different mind space, and I might like it a lot more. Yeah, honestly.
I think I got lucky that this month I just dove into books not caring anything.
Yeah.
Because I feel like if I came into this expecting something and getting mad by not getting what I expected, this would not have a 4 for me.
I feel that. Erica, you're like turning a new leaf. You're like becoming a new person over there. Look at you.
One book does not.
We'll get you some more.
Like, don't get comfortable.
Leopard doesn't change its spots.
Okay.
And on that note, thank you so much for joining us this week. Check out first of all, subscribe to us on YouTube. Just look up Books and Betches.
Subscribe.
We need more subscribers, all right?
Subscribe.
Go over there.
Now that we're not.
Whatever.
Okay. Also, there's been a couple of people who have asked us. We are no longer putting our video on Spotify. That is due to our new joining to the Gemini 13 podcast network. It's just a limitation with the programming that we're using and how we're moving towards monetization. And we will have the video, and it is on our YouTube channel. So if you do want to watch us, we apologize. Maybe in the future that capability will be back in our hands.
It'll come back when
but we had
right now,
we had to make a decision based off of what's good for us. And so
we're on YouTube.
We're on YouTube.
Free platform.
YouTube. Yeah.
Do we have ads on YouTube?
Yes.
Shit, look at us.
Watching a lot.
Ads.
We've had ads for a while. We don't make nothing off of it.
Yeah, we really don't. What do we make on YouTube?
I think we've made like $50 lifetime.
Really?
No, we've made a lifetime since we've got it. Maybe 150,
150 over 2 years.
Yeah.
So if you're looking to become a popular YouTuber, I mean, we only release one video a week.
Fucking sucks.
But also,
I love YouTube.
It depends on the algorithm.
No,
we're not getting millions of views.
Money.
Yeah, we're not getting millions of views because we don't post 3 times a week.
Yeah.
The only way to succeed on YouTube is consistency.
Like
you have to post, like some people post like 2 videos a day on YouTube, and that's how they become.
That's how Instagram was for a while.
YouTube.
Yeah.
It's you. I know it's you guys. I know it's you guys.
I'm a premium subscriber, baby. It's all I watch. It's the only thing I watch. I turn on my TV, I put the YouTube app on, and I put my first recommended, and I just keep going from there. Yeah. I do, for real. That's all I watch is YouTube. But it's been like that since 2006, so it is what it is.
I watch a lot of like house people on YouTube.
I have all types of content.
YouTube is my HGTV.
All types of content. You name it, you're going to find it on YouTube.
Her algorithm is bonkers.
Most of my things I watch
she comes up with, I don't know.
I watch adventures. Right now, I'm watching a dude cross all of Wales in a single straight line. GeoWizard.
Who knows?
GeoWizard, if you want to watch him. By the way, well, that's a spoiler, but this is his 4th time trying to cross Wales, the country, in a single line. You know how many times I've wanted to do something like that? I've dreamed of shit like that.
Why?
And there's people out there doing it. Now I'm watching a guy.
What happens if he has to run into a building?
He's allowed to deviate 20 meters, which is not a lot. So he has climbed you have to. It's really interesting. The shit he wades through, the farmers he runs into.
What does he win?
No, he's just doing it for fun.
It's just for fun.
Yeah, but he makes money to do it.
Fun.
It's
He
cool.
makes money.
Yeah.
And now it's on YouTube.
And he's a geographer. Like, it's a neat thing. But now I'm watching a guy run all of Africa. It's going to take him 3 years. But he's also doing a whole charity thing. Like,
Okay.
it's gonna be one of the biggest human feats in
He's
history.
Forrest Gumping it. Got
Yeah,
it.
it's like a whole
Like
mission.
a circle?
I think so.
I like
like
that.
through every
It's 9,000 miles, over 9,000 miles. He's
How
running
much? Okay.
every day. He'll be
This
running.
is a whole side
Could
thing.
you
Tell me about it
imagine?
after.
How
I
cool.
could never.
That's
I
your
think
whole
I
life.
would give up after like a year.
A
For
year's
sure.
a lot. A
I
year's
know,
already a
but that's what
lot
I'm
to
saying.
commit.
That's
what I'm
imagine.
I
saying.
give up to 3 months.
Think of how
maybe.
much has changed in your life over the course of 3 years.
Not much.
Like,
All the
you would
things
ha-
you've had to like go out and do and find. You've gotten a new job within 3 years. No.
No, I'm at 4.
Oh,
now.
okay. But still, like 3 years, like from 2018 to 2020.
So he's just
like,
resigning
a lot.
not to like
Live a life.
Yeah.
live.
And the people following him and videoing him,
Forrest
same
Gump.
thing.
like, what if you have a wedding?
He doesn't.
He can't.
He ain't going.
I'll send you the video later. Thank you so much,
That's
everybody, for joining
reckless.
us. Follow us on Instagram, books_n_Betches, BETCHES. You'll find our link tree in there. Follow us on all our
pissed.
socials. And we love you. We love you. Erica loves you. Maria loves you.
I don't like the 3 years.
And I really hope that you all have a wonderful day. See you in the next one. Bye.
bothers me.